Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Game Informer Show, a weekly podcast covering the video game industry. Join us every Friday for a discussion about the latest gaming news, reviews, and exclusive reveals alongside Game Informer staff and special guests from around the industry. I'm one of your hosts, Kyle Hilliard. I'm joined today by Charles Hart. How's it going, Charles?
Howdy who. How are you?
Oh, good question. Eric Van Allen is here. I'm catching you right as you're taking a sip.
No, I was blowing on my coffee to cool it so it doesn't burn my tongue today. I'm terrified of burning my tongue live on air. Hasn't happened yet, but it will one day eventually.
Oh, I can't wait. I'm going to be there. And Wesley LeBlanc. What's up, Wes?
Hello. Excited to be here.
Yeah. Hey, today we are diving deep on the state of play, which at the time of this recording, I don't know when you're listening to this, but we covered it in a big way last night and on Thursday and now Friday morning. First thing we're doing is we are talking about everything that happened there. And along with all the announcements, I have also played a little bit of, I've already forgotten the name, God of War, Sons of Sparta. I've played a little bit of it, so we can talk about that too. And then after a break, Charles got to play some Pokemon Pokopia. Wes reviewed Reanimal. I reviewed Romeo as a Dead Man and played a bunch of CiniCross. It's a whole dang episode of the Game Informer Show, and we're going to dive right into it, guys. Let's talk about state of play. I don't know who wants to go first, but what did you guys think of it? I thought it was a good show. I thought it was dense. I thought there was a lot of fun stuff. But what did you guys think?
I thought it was the best one. I would need to go back through all of them to say it's the best one, but in recent memory, it's the best one. It was the first one in a long time where I was like, not really any segments that felt this could have been an email or a press release. This felt very event worthy. I'm actually surprised it was a state of play and not a PlayStation showcase, to be honest. I think it could have easily been their more hype, exciting thing, but there was less first party representation. That's probably why it was a state of play. But lots of good stuff to chew on in it, I think.
Yeah, I'd have to think back to maybe there might have been some E3s that maybe outdid it. I'll always remember the Shadow of the Colossus
for sure.
remake, kind of just blowing my mind that thing would even exist. But yeah, there was a lot happening, and there was a lot of stuff that I was really surprised by. Opening up with, is it Kena or Kena? I actually only played about an hour of it.
Kena.
I never played the first one.
However they said it in the trailer, I'm going to play it right now so I can remind myself. However they said it, I was surprised because I had been saying it a different way.
Okay, Charles is doing the research right now.
Kanana, what's my name? Is that what it is?
Yeah, that's...
Y'all forgot about that song until now, I guarantee you. You did not remember that song.
I still don't know what you're talking about.
Forgot about a Rihanna song? Yeah, actually I did.
Not a
Rihanna
Rihanna song, but Unana, what's my name specifically.
Yeah.
But that, I don't know how you guys felt, but that one surprised me in a big way because as cool as that original game was, which I admit I only played about an hour of it, but I love the way it looked. My prediction for a long time has been that studio was like, hey, we made Kena, and then Sony was going to be like, great, we're going to put you on this license. It was kind of my thought.
Yeah.
I don't know what that license was. I don't know what it was going to be, but it just didn't occur to me that they would continue that franchise. And the game looks great. It looks really good.
Yeah.
The first one was a very PS2 game, right? It was a very classic character action platformer type game or character action type game, like a Jack or a Ratchet.
Yeah. Its visuals, though, were stunning. I think it's... I'm shooting off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure this was a former animation duo, movies.
Yeah,
and that was the big sell, was we are an animation studio and now we want to make games.
They did a Majora's Mask fan film, is that right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which is cool. It's kind of... If I've seen it before, and it was a nice calling card and sort of showed their chops. And this one... Yeah. This one looks emotional, and the action looks cool. I'm more interested in jumping right into the sequel, I think, personally. After enjoying the first one, but just not finishing it was kind of where I was at with it. I
was gonna say I had a weird moment when this played because I was guiding the first Kena game for IGN. It was my last freelance assignment when former editor-in-chief here, Andrew Reiner, had called and pitched me the job that I originally took in 2021, and it was it was one of those weird, like, wow, time has passed. Like that was, we're coming up on 5 years ago when I was offered this job here, and now I'm seeing the sequel to this game, and it was really
Lost
cool.
it twice, got it back.
Yeah, yeah. It's a whole saga. Like I don't even know what I don't even know what day to celebrate my like. This is how long I've been working here. I just kind of like guess, but the first Kenna is actually really great. I can understand wanting to jump to the sequel. I do think the first one like is a really good time if you know what you're going in for. As someone who 100%ed it because I had to for work, it's really cool, and I like the Pikmin little dudes. I don't know, I can't remember what they're called, but you can put little hats on them, and I think you collect more and more of these little like hairy black bob things, and then you can put little hats on them.
I did find, by the way, it's Kana.
Kana.
So it's not Kenna, it's not Kina, it's Kana.
I'm not
Legacy of Kana is how I will remember it, which got a couple of announcements too, a new 2D action game and a remaster of Defiance. But I think the next thing I want to touch on is Konami, which, Eric, you kind of added it to our sort of podcast notes as like Konami is back, which I think is like a fair
Konami is back question mark.
I think you could put an interrobang there. I think they're like I think they're back, right? And I think they've been back for a while. I think Silent Hill F was a success. I think Silent Hill 2 Remake was a success. I think Metal Gear Solid Delta is a success. But this is arguably, I mean, with Castlevania, which you guys please tell me about Castlevania because I was writing things, so that's like one of the trailers I haven't had a chance to sit down and watch yet. Like, this feels like, and Silent Hill Townfall, this is like, okay, now we're getting into new stuff and not necessarily just like remakes and remasters, which I feel like was necessary to get Konami back on their feet. But yeah, what I saw of Castlevania looked really nice. Was there something like, what did you guys who were paying attention more closely to it get from it?
So I wrote that story. That it's one of those stories that like the the odd thing where the development story of the game makes me feel like hopeful about games as an art form in a weird way, where it is Konami in partnership with Evil Empire and Motion Twin, which are two studios that made the Dead Cells games. Motion Twin originally did it, and then Evil Empire, I believe, was like spun off from Motion Twin, was doing the post-launch updates, and now they have like separate projects. Motion Twin is working on, I think it's called Windblown. I believe Evil Empire's doing the Prince of Persia roguelike. And it's like they made Dead Cells inspired by a lot of things in Castlevania, reached out to Konami, and they're like, hey, can we make Castlevania DLC? This is also, I guess, Wes, a similar thing where this was like one of my first significant features I did for Game Informer, where I was like, oh, time is flying.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Where I talked to them and they were like, yeah, it was kind of weird. We were so excited to do it, and they were like, I don't know, got a vibe of like they were flattered that people were interested in this way, and they really got like free reign to do whatever, and they made this huge expansion to Dead Cells that was like all Castlevania themed, and now they are making a new Castlevania game, and it's a sequel to Dracula's Curse, which is the third Castlevania
right?
game.
Yeah.
Or it's like 23 years after that.
You're right. Yeah. I was thinking of Dracula X, by the way. Charles, you are correct. It was the third NES game, right?
Yeah. And it's also, I think, the series' 40th anniversary. But I think the gameplay looked really nice. It looks like a modern. I mean, Motion Twin and Evil Empire really know what they're doing with like 2D action and all that, but it is like Castlevania with a very modern look and feel to it. It has a cool kind of like painty kind of art style to it. And I'm excited because like I am someone who I never played the like Lords of Shadow games, and like I don't know if I like had known really what Castlevania was in a time where like a new one was coming out. Like this is a new feeling to me where it's such an influential series, and I've seen the influence, and I'm like finally be like, oh, it's that thing everyone's talking. I've seen the Netflix show, but I've never played a Castlevania game. Is like really? Where my fandom of Castlevania is.
Yeah, and it's not a rogue game, to be clear, right? It is a...
There wasn't any indication that it was,
okay.
No.
That's good. That's what I want. I mean, this is, for a few years now, as Konami is sort of, bringing themselves to a boil, this is what I've wanted, frankly, is like I don't need you to reinvent Castlevania. You can do that. Like, you can do Lords of Shadow again in the future. I love the first Lords of Shadow. But like for now, when it's been so long since we've like been a Belmont, like I just want like a nice get a really talented smaller developer who knows how to make these games that you sort of started and like, you know, put a bunch of effort into like a 2D Castlevania game. So this is exactly what I wanted for the franchise.
Yeah.
So that's why I wanted to bring it up, is because Konami has kind of found a new like coasting speed by saying, okay, a lot of the stuff we're doing now is either remakes or collections of our old stuff. Notably in this state of play, we got the Metal Gear Solid Volume 2 collection, which means MGS4 is no longer locked to the PS3, which is honestly kind of incredible in and of itself. I believe Peace Walker is packed in with it.
I've been internally threatening to myself to plug in a PlayStation 3 to replay Metal Gear Solid 4 the last couple of years. You know, like I've got one on a shelf collecting dust, but yeah, it's like weirdly exciting.
On that Peace Walker note too, this was kind of like hidden because it wasn't announced during the state of play. The multiplayer is coming with it, which is like that's what Peace Walker's whole thing was.
Yeah,
was the and that's really cool.
So
Anyway,
everyone who's playing the Delta multiplayer mode, which is all of us, right? We've all played the Delta multiplayer. We're all just gonna move right over to Peace Walker, right? Sorry, Konami. I don't think anyone.
So that's like one fork of it, right? And the other fork is either contract or bring in studios that are going to do cool things with our properties, whether that's bringing in outside talent like with Silent Hill F, where they brought in Ryu Kishi and stuff like that, or you get Motion Twin in on something like this, you get Bloober in on something like this, and I think it makes a lot of sense. I mean, it might sound really simplistic to say, well, if you have a ton of really good properties that everybody loves, then just get somebody else to make them for you and reap the benefits, and everybody kind of gets what they want. A studio gets a really good shot at a property, people get a new Castlevania, a new Silent Hill, something like that, and Konami gets money. But like, that is really a winning strategy that is seeming to work right now. And of all the companies to figure it out, I don't think, 5-10 years ago any of us would have guessed that would have been Konami, in the wake of all the Kojima MGS5 stuff and all that. Like, it's
there was a
really...
minute there too where Konami was like, we're kind of done with games. We really like our casinos and our slot machines and stuff. And then everyone was like, okay, that sucks. So like,
okay,
the fact that
thanks.
Yeah, the fact that like we're back to like Konami as a game maker is really cool.
Do you guys remember when the Metal Gear Solid 3 slot machine debacle happened? God, I don't know if you guys remember it, but like it was way before a proper remake existed. And this like trailer went online that showed like new visuals for Metal Gear Solid 3. It was like a trailer. We saw the boss and like all these high resolution. It was like, oh my God, it's happening. And then it cut to like a pachinko machine. It was like the most devastating thing ever. But it was hilarious in retrospect.
Yeah.
Do you think that Konami is doing all these smart moves incrementally to eventually get to, we have a small studio, we've contracted a studio to make a new Metal Gear Solid? Because it feels like they are politely tiptoeing around that large elephant that will always be in their history, which is what happened with Kojima and Konami. And they're bringing back their other franchises. Metal Gear has just been releases in this remake. Like, how far until a small stealth studio is given the reins to a new Metal Gear Solid? Or is it just off the table, you think?
They did say, like, when they were talking about Castlevania, they were like, we've been they didn't use these exact words. It was basically like, we've been releasing old Castlevania collections just to make sure people didn't forget that they liked these games. So now that when we come up with a new one, people will actually play it because they have all the nostalgia. So like the concept of that is something they are doing with one series. So I wouldn't be shocked, but I don't know what studio would do it.
I mean, my bet, like the place that I would put my chips, is actually the team that made Delta. Their next project is a fully original Metal Gear Solid. I think that among the Konami franchises, Silent Hill, Castlevania, etc. Like Silent Hill and Castlevania are flexible and like have been handled by other people, and they can hand them off to others. They have before. They can give them to others too. But Metal Gear is like a very specific, precious thing that costs a lot of money to make and demands production value. So I don't think Metal Gear ever gets handed to a smaller team. I think it will always be internal. I don't know if that means it'll be good. I don't know if the next Metal Gear Solid, I don't know if they call it Metal Gear Solid 6, will be a good game, or if we'll play it and we'll be like, this doesn't work without Kojima. I don't know. But that's where I would sort of guess the series is right now. I bet the Delta team is. I bet they're working on something original more than I think they're remaking something else.
As someone who's not, I have not played the Metal Gear Solid series because I've been waiting for this moment that we now have, which is I can easily play them all. Are they as like bad? Or no, don't want to say that. Are they as wild as Death Stranding is? Because I know of Metal Gear Solid and I know that they can kind of get a little kooky, but like. Now seeing where Kojima's at with Death Stranding, I'm like, there's no way this dude's making Metal Gear. He would be making Metal Gear Solid anymore.
4 is the one that I think jumps the shark. Like I think 1 and 2 are certainly goofy, weird, a little bit over the top in ways that I think people sometimes overblow a little bit, especially 2. Like 2's got some wild stuff in there.
Yeah, 2 is weird.
Like 2 is where they talk about memes and stuff like that. In the year of whatever it was on the PS2, they were talking about memes.
They basically totally called the current internet and how terrible it is, basically. In a wild way.
But 3 also has like inexplicable like live action footage. It's a game that like I could tell you details about it. You would say that's weird, and then you'd start playing the game. You'd forget everything I said because it wouldn't make any sense. And then you'd encounter it in the game. You're like, oh, I guess Charles did mention this, but I had no. Anyways, But in the as someone who played that within the last few years, I do think 2 is odd.
In the context of Kojima is clearly a cinephile, like who enjoys like mediums and messages and stuff like that, and especially like if you watch a lot of art films and stuff, you're going to see a lot of the ways in which he takes ideas and brings them in, and you can kind of see it as a a mixing pot of all that stuff. And then 3 is obviously like the most grounded, I would say, but still a little bit goofy, still a little bit wacky. 4 is where it jumps the shark for me. That's the one where you have like the models that he brought in to be the femme fatale bosses that you fight throughout the entire thing, and really long.
Did he post them on his Instagram first as like a tease for
that was pre-Instagram,
these girls will be appearing?
I was like, when was that happening? I don't think that was Instagram time. It was like coming up on it. Yeah, no, it was there's a lot of stuff in 4 that I don't want to spoil for you that gets absolutely bizarre, but still really, I think the ending to that game is absolutely amazing in ways that really only Kojima tries to go for. So I
will
appreciate
say,
it.
It's the Death Stranding sort of like level of lunacy comparison I think is interesting, because Death Stranding does break off into genuinely magic, in the sense of like you are going between the world of the living and the dead, and what does that mean, right? Like that's a thing that like they don't explain away with technology in Death Stranding. Right.
You just have to follow Kojima and the studio with those games.
Like you can die and there's another world where you die, and you know what I mean. Like that's where Death Stranding goes crazy. But like Metal Gear doesn't quite go to that line, but like, dude, there's a full-on vampire in Metal Gear Solid.
You gave a situation where that exact thing happens.
Yeah, there's in the most grounded Metal Gear
section, where there's a world of the dead and it's kind of magical and you don't really explain it.
I guess that's you guys are totally right. That is true, but I guess I think of it as like it's not the core idea of Metal Gear Solid, right? Where
I guess what I'm curious about is like post Death Stranding 1 and 2 Kojima, would he be making Metal Gear Solid 6 today still? Yeah.
Maybe. Yeah. Like maybe. Metal Gear is a world that he has created that totally gives him the freedom to do whatever he wants, so to speak, right? Like it's not like he broke away from Metal Gear and I can finally do something crazy. Like no, he could totally if they announced that Metal Gear Solid 6, hey, guess what? This is crazy. Kojima Productions is making it. Maybe that's the outside company that makes Metal Gear Solid 6, actually. But, like, if that happened, like, I wouldn't be like, oh, no, he has to rein himself in again. No, absolutely not.
I mean, he's making Fizzin', so we're going to see, I guess, what Metal Gear Solid 6 would be theoretically, probably. Yeah.
But yeah, lots of cool
I'm very
stuff,
very excited to check out Metal Gear Solid now.
Yeah.
Like, all the way.
4 is my least favorite, but it's still a game I really enjoy, and like I want to play again because I was at a weird place in my life when it came out, where I was like full-time student working full-time, and I was getting really frustrated with that game because I had like an hour and a half to play a video game, right? Like I was very busy.
That's a cutscene.
Literally, like genuinely, literally, I would boot up the game, watch a cutscene, not even get to finish it, and like have to go to class, you know. So like, so I got really frustrated with it. So I would like to revisit it now, knowing what I'm getting into and being like, I'm gonna watch a movie and not play a game sometimes, basically, which is not the thought process I had while I was playing it at the time.
I've never played a Metal Gear Solid. I just watched my friend play all of them because he had all of them on PS3, and so I would just sit there on the couch and watch him play them. And I don't know if I want to play Metal Gear Solid at this point because it seems like a good game series, but there's something about experiencing that with like people around and being like, dude, what is happening right now? Are you seeing this?
It's a good way to experience it.
Yeah. It did forever shape the way that I see this series. So
yeah. Eric, can you tell me about? I'm sorry, Charles. Go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
I was gonna say real quick that I was like, my perception going in is I knew they were. This is like I played them recently, 1 through 3. Perception going in is they're like these wacky, crazy games and all this stuff's going on. And then I did play them and I was like, oh, they're also fun. People talk about that it's fun to play these games, and that's something that I'm excited to play Metal Gear Solid 4 because maybe it's not fun. I don't know. I assume it'll be fun, and then everything else I'll just be like, it's crazy. This is all happening on my eyes in front of me. But I'm very excited for this.
I'm excited to hear because you will play it. Like you're committed, right? Like you've played
I
1, 2,
definitely
and 3
will play
recently,
this game.
right? Yeah. So
I it's like almost a sunk cost thing at this point where I'm like, I put up with too much craziness in this series to not know how the like end of the timeline is or whatever.
I'm excited to hear your sort of thoughts. Yeah.
There is no end, right? I'm excited to get to 5 because the way people talk about 5 has always been so fascinating to me. But like, like you don't get a climax, right? Like you just have to live with that.
Yeah, because you have to recognize that
there's an ending. Yeah.
Yeah, like 4 is the ending. Like truly. Like I mean, there's some open-ended nature to it. I'm not spoiling anything, but it is a satisfying conclusion to the Metal Gear Solid saga because 5 is a prequel. 5 goes back to the early timeline. So like, it is interesting the way that all fell apart. Where I mean, I know we're like sort of getting sidetracked with Metal Gear as we always do, but like, there is a complete story here that he was able to walk away from. Right? It's not like there's unanswered questions in the Metal Gear franchise. I mean, there are, but like not the big important ones.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Eric, I wanted to hear you talk a little bit about Tokon, Marvel Tokon, and because they shared new fighters, right?
Well, in a release date, which I didn't even realize they didn't have a release date locked in, but now we have one set for August 6th, which does kind of put it in the window for Evo, which is kind of interesting. I don't think it'll be an Evo game this year. That seems like too tight of a window to manage, but maybe it gets some spotlight shine at the show. That'd be cool. But yeah, so we got the trailer that confirmed that there was some additional stuff on the PlayStation blog about an episode mode that wasn't exactly clear, but seems like there will be some kind of story single player type mode, and it'll have comic/manga panels that cut in and things like that. Kind of try to do something that adds a little bit of story and framing and setting to this. But the big news is 3 fighters confirmed. We already knew Storm was in the game, and that's like Storm's classic MVC. That makes sense. Another classic MVC inclusion is Wolverine. You really can't make an X-Men like an X-Men game, much less an X-Men fighting game, without Wolverine in it. But then Magic is really sick. I think Magic has slowly become a more popular X-Men character over the last like 5 years or so. Her being
Rivals helped with that too.
Rivals, Marvel's Midnight Suns, games that really put a spotlight on her and how cool her kit is. She's just big sword teleport demons. It's awesome. Love Magic. And then Danger, who might be one of my favorite characters I've seen somebody come up with for a Marvel game, which apparently is just the Danger Room from Xavier's Academy, became a sentient android and is fighting alongside the X-Men. And so she's like a Hatsune Miku or like Echo from Overwatch android that
So she's a
also.
hologram?
No, she's a robot.
I thought Hatsune Miku was an android. Is Hatsune? I mean,
Oh, the
Hatsune
fiction?
Miku is a hologram.
I don't know the
but-
fiction of Hatsune Miku. I know that
She's
like
a hologram, but I don't know what she is in
she's
lore,
a hologram on stage. but,
Yeah,
like,
that's
the
what I was saying.
story of
In
Hatsune
lore.
Miku. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I think you're
She's
right.
in
Maybe
Fortnite as well.
If you know things about Hatsune Miku, please leave a comment below.
Please, I've been playing the Fortnite festival because I bought like a rock band guitar.
Breaking.
Wes really got me there. Just so authoritatively, as if it would answer all our questions. Like, oh, she's in Fortnite too.
Oh, okay, yeah, Fortnite, yeah.
But her Anamanaguchi song that she did, Hatsune Miku, on, which is a great song. I love that song. Is in Fortnite Festival was recently. So
Yeah.
not as
Shouts
interesting a
to-
side as Wes's. I'm sorry.
Yeah, GI Show loves Hatsune Miku. We say this all the time.
Friend of the show,
yeah.
Hatsune Miku.
Yeah, friend of the show, Hatsune Miku.
We could probably get her. She could probably be a guest, right?
Yeah,
Vocaloid?
Well, we'll reach out. We'll have our people talk to her people, androids, holograms. I'm not
Her
sure.
computer.
I think you
Yeah,
just
yeah,
send
yeah.
a text message like into like the ether, right? You just like send a message without a recipient, and it'll get to her. I think.
Anyways, Danger is the Danger Room turned into an anime android girl, and that's awesome, man. That's sick. All the moves are like throwing out the different obstacles and like buzz saws and lasers you might see in the Danger Room, and I think that's a really cool design. Marvel Tokon looks really good. They also tease that their teams, which if you've played like a King of Fighters game, you might recognize that sort of framing of different teams of fighters that kind of form a loose framing of you could make a team of these characters and they'll probably click together pretty well, or they'll have like similar ideas, be coming from similar backgrounds, that sort of thing. So I like that. I think that's a fun framing device for this game. But Tokon continues to look really, really good. I think the fighting game community is in a strange place right now where we've got some really, really good games at the top. I think Street Fighter 6 is still fairly healthy. Tekken 8 depends on who you talk to, but I think Tekken 8 is still a pretty solid game. 2XKO, I think, is the big elephant in the room right now with all of the layoffs that just happened. And I mean, Riot coming out and saying that it did not launch in the way that they expected. It did not hit launch expectations. I think that's really strange coming from Riot Games. But
Well, they're also a company that they're probably they want like the biggest hit in the world. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, they like if it's not like the most successful thing ever, it's like that's considered a failure for Riot, I think. Right?
Yeah. They've been struggling a bit too with the League of Legends like spin-off third-party games things they were doing. They stopped doing those.
yeah, they stopped doing those.
Laid off people.
I could talk at length
yeah.
about Riot Games. I don't think we need to make that this podcast episode, but the short version is that I think there were expectations they had for that game and how they thought people would engage with it that were different than what reality was ever going to be. They saw it as, oh, people will treat this like League of Legends, and they didn't. And even League of Legends has been having its own problems with the reception that Riot thinks it should get versus what it does get. But in that light, Marvel Tokon, Arc System Works, kind of the golden child of fighting games at this point, has, I think once Dragon Ball FighterZ came around, people just immediately woke up to the fact that Arc System Works is like an S tier, a high caliber, high talent fighting game studio that can make really cool stuff. And seeing them do all this stuff with Marvel, I mean, it looks fantastic. It rekindles that fire that Dragon Ball FighterZ had for me all those years ago in like 2018 or whatever. So I think Tokon looks great. I really can't wait for that. I think it's going to be a really, really cool game. So yeah.
Yeah.
Crucially, they have the word Marvel in the title, which honestly, I think 2KX's biggest issue was like, you didn't put League of Legends in the title, and then you made a really bad name. Tokon Fighting Souls, not the greatest name, but I think having Marvel in there is going to help a bunch.
Yeah, because people will just say, hey, guess what? Wins Marvel. That's already a thing in the fighting game community. And now they can once again say wins Marvel, and it's a tag fighter again. It works so well.
The
whereas,
new
to your
Marvel
point-
fighting game is like its alternate title.
Yeah.
You kind of brushed past it, Eric, but there's the Danger Room fighter.
Yes.
That is not from the comic. That's like they
It
made
is
that
from
up
the
for the
comic.
game.
I have no idea. Is that a comic character?
Yeah, I looked
it
it
is?
up
Okay.
beforehand, but
Yeah.
Well, I was. This is a good segue for me. I was gonna say when I went to see Marvel Cosmic Invasion, a few months ago, at like the end of last year, was talking to the team at Tribute about their relationship to like the big Marvel Games team, and they were saying they don't really have any strict, like, you have to have this character in your roster or whatever, but they are generally like, it shouldn't be all A-listers. You should have a good mix of like obscurity in there. So like, you're probably going to want Spider-Man because he's like the most popular character in the world. So every Marvel game would have Spider-Man, but they really encourage us, like, if you can find like a weird character to put in there or a slightly lesser known character. And I think Danger is like the perfect example from this that we've seen, where it's like, people are going to, like, from Marvel's perspective, they're like, this is a character that exists in the comics, and maybe if someone is exposed to this game, they really like the character, that's like a gateway into more Marvel stuff for them. But I like it too because it just makes like, it makes the roster more diverse in a way. I honestly think that's why Magic is so prominent in a lot of Marvel stuff, because I mean, she literally looks different than a lot of characters, but also like giving her a giant sword is a thing I think a lot of developers are like, well, you know, adapting Thor's moveset into this thing might be kind of tricky because of how his powers work, but we know how swords and fire works, and so we can put that into a game pretty easily.
I think even the fact that they're announcing the release date alongside the X-Men is a subtly like masterful move, like acknowledging that Marvel does have a rich history in fighting games, but the X-Men specifically have a very rich history in all these games going back to like Children of the Atom and stuff like that. But even like the start of Marvel versus Capcom was stuff like X-Men versus Street Fighter. Like the X-Men have been core for a lot of like Marvel's fighting game presence for a long time. And it led to, even in games like MVC2, a lot of the big four was X-Men characters, was Cable, was Storm, or Sentinel, like these very iconic characters that became the face of Marvel as a fighting property. And so having them roll out like this, I think it's just very well done, very well played. So yeah, it seems like Arc System Works is doing everything right.
Yeah. Let's talk about Project Windless. Which I had a weird memory of this. We talked about it a little before we started recording. It's based on the Korean novel series The Bird That Drinks Tears. And that kind of like sparked something in my brain. I was like, why is this familiar? And when I was the mobile like lead editor at GameSpot.com, I remember like assigning a story on this announcement for, at the time it was called it was just Untitled. It was Untitled based on this game, but they had the sort of CGI, like the art of the chicken. And this was back in like 2022. So like as we were watching this footage, I was like, God, this seems so familiar. I've seen something about this. And the trailer just kept getting like crazier and crazier, and there's like this giant chicken like playing Dynasty Warriors. Like I think we were all just kind of like, what is happening here? This is insane.
Yeah. This is the trailer starts and it's this reptilian looking like goddess woman who's talking about purity and soulless people and blah blah blah, and she's part of the reptilian Naga race in this novel series. This is a high fantasy series of novels from South Korean author Lee Young-do. It was first published in 2003, so this isn't like a folktale thing, which Krafton is doing a lot of as well. This would be like what's currently happening is like Brandon Sanderson's novels are being adapted into other media. And it's this world of like four races. There's the reptiles that we saw, and then the chicken is part of a race known as the Recon or Recon. That's all the lore stuff happening.
Or this is just
this is me. This is the research I was doing for the story I wrote yesterday, and so that's like the lore that's happening, and you kind of get a taste of that in the trailer. But then you watch the trailer, and there's a anthropomorphic, super buff chicken with two swords who is just slashing through hordes of enemies, Dynasty Warriors style. Like,
yeah,
I don't want to say it's quite Dynasty Warriors, and I recognize maybe that's a turnoff for some people. I'm quite like that kind of combat. But it's like mixing the more traditional, like over the shoulder, third person action combat that we see everywhere now with like Dynasty Warrior hordes and the ability to just like rip through them. And I think that's really cool. We see giant like monkey beasts, like all kind of stuff happening. And this chicken is just like this buff sword wielding chicken. I have no doubt the internet will soon grasp onto this chicken, and we are not far from calling him hot. In fact, I saw Ash, formerly
I'm
of the
sure
Verge,
that was in the
talking
comments
about
as it was on screen. You know?
yeah. Like I think people are going to be hot for this chicken. Lots of good jokes out there already, and it looks sick. It's under the name Project Windless, which should indicate this is probably a good bit of ways away. We have no release window or anything. It's being developed, I think, exclusively for PS5 currently, but again, we're probably years away from publish, so who knows where it goes. But yeah.
I think to your point about the action, I would almost call this like a spectacle action, because we used to have more of these games, and then I think Souls got very popular and people kind of started to go in that direction. But you go back to the 360 era, you have games like Drakengard, you have games like 99 Nights that start to expand out what the character action game can look like on the ground, and this does have a bit of that flavor to it, a bit of that. It's hack and slash action. It's not quite DMC. It's not quite Souls. It's like a third point on the vectored triangle of character action, and I'm all game for that. We're back in the 360 is so back. We're getting games like Pragmata. We're getting games like Project
remember the
Windless.
360's big thing early on was like, we can put so many characters on screen. You don't even understand. You think 10's a lot? Just you wait. Like that was like the whole like first 6 months of the Xbox 360.
And then Dark Souls happened, and now it's like you're gonna fight this one person in front of you for 5 minutes in a duel.
And you're gonna like it.
Yeah, this game. It was just like it's one of the trailer of all the trailers during the show. I would say watch this one if you're only somehow watching one, because it is just bonkers, off the wall, and it looks cool. It's going to be a single player. They called it an action RPG, and it's open world as well, which you can't really tell that in this more cinematic trailer. But I think it's really interesting. This is Krafton. This is a South Korean based company. We are seeing post Black Myth Wukong development is a lot of the East Asian markets outside of Japan, so talking like Korea and China, have been kind of like stranded in mobile and gacha land because their player base they play a lot of mobile games there. And I've spoken to a lot of South Korean devs for Game Informer, and basically what's happened is they've kind of tapped out on that market. Like the well is running dry. They have their whales that keep those games afloat, and those games are still doing really well. But they're finding that younger generations want to build PCs and play beefy games on beefy PCs and maybe buy a console too. And so now these companies saw what Black Myth Wukong did, which, mind you, that's like a 25 million seller game. That's huge for a brand new IP. And I think they're going to tap into like their culture's history, which we see a lot. We see comic games based on American comics and this kind of stuff. Like they're tapping into the media that's popular there and creating these big action games. And I think it's we're going to continue to see that. And whether or not this game performs well in the US is irrelevant. I think this game is going to do really well, the same way that Black Myth Wukong, like that audience in the East Asia is like hungry for.
I mean, Stellar Blade is like a similar story. I remember talking
Stellar
to those
Blade,
devs too, and there was kind of like I got the sense, which is from a translated interview. Like it's always tough to tell how emotionally a developer is feeling, but like I got the sense from them that they're like, yeah, we made a lot of mobile games and we're doing great, but like that's not what we want to do. Like we want to make bigger things, and so it seems like they are, which is good.
Yeah,
Phantom Blade Zero is coming out of China this year. Like we're seeing China and South Korea are absolutely new markets to watch. I mean, I went to China last year. That was the first time in GI history
I think so.
that we've ever been to China to cover a game, and like it's I'm really excited about what's coming out. I mean, obviously Japan, we know that industry very well, but it's cool to see China and South Korea kind of jump into this market.
Yeah. Let's talk a little bit about God of War, which was, if I remember correctly, that's how they ended the show, right?
Yes.
Like that was the last thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know how I feel about because what they did is they brought in the I don't have his name off the top of my head, but the actor who played
Carson.
Kratos.
That sounds
Okay,
right, yeah.
TC, right? It's like an
TC Carson.
TC Carson, who played Kratos in the original trilogy and the PSP games and Ascension and stuff, and he was on hand to say, "Hey, we're Sony Santa Monica is remaking the God of War trilogy." Hello, I'm very charismatic, and I'm going to tell you that they're and I'm going to be involved with it. I was like, that's great, but like, I don't know, man. Like, I don't know how I feel about those kinds of announcements of just like, we're working on something, Like, I think
it even had like the warning of like, it's going to be a while before you hear anything more about this, and it's games do that, and it's very frustrating.
Well, and
I think there's like two like things. I think one of them is they don't want to get leaked. Like they want to have it come out on their own terms.
Yeah.
And the other thing about it that's like good, broadly speaking, is that if you're a developer working on the God of War trilogy, you can talk about it. You don't have to be like secretive about it. So to an extent, I understand it, but I also get like it's frustrating of like, I don't know. It's weird to be anticipating a game that's like however many years out, like 5 years out or whatever, if it takes a stupid long amount of time. But
they do it for recruitment too. I know that's something devs do. They announce
Yeah.
games early, and it's like, if you want to come work on this, you should do that. But as a fan, it's like you get excited for this. Like we were popping off in the chat, and so was social media. But then, I mean, we're probably not going to see anything about this for at least a year, maybe
if
a
anything,
year and a half. Like, yeah,
I just
and
want
that's-
like I mean, I know it's a lot to ask because they're probably very early on, but I just want to know the visual direction. Like, what is a screenshot of it? I don't even need. I just want to know like a visual identity of this thing.
Maybe like a concept art or something, like
even
a
that.
little bit of
Sure,
something.
Yeah.
I personally like this. I think the games industry is often too secretive for its own good. It's a little too precious about confirming that, hey, that series that is super popular that will make us a lot of money when we make the next one in its installment, stuff. Yeah, we're working on that. Yeah, we're thinking about the next plans for that. Instead, they're like, we're not discussing anything about this. It could or could not happen. Who could? I think it's fine to get out there and say, hey, yeah, we're working on this. I mean, Kingdom Hearts 4 is in that box right now. Mass Effect 5 is in that box right now. And it's fine that stuff is getting worked on. There's extenuating circumstances with at least one of those games that maybe casts a dark shadow over it. And maybe that's ultimately the thing, is the video games industry is never stable enough to feel like you can get out there really early ahead of something and still feel like it's going to be on track 3 years from now, because our timelines are so long, because things take so long to turn around compared to 20 years ago. But all that being said, I mean, trilogy remake, it's interesting. I'm not the hugest fan of God of War in general, but I know a lot of people are. I think I have a lot of questions certainly about what it means that they're remaking. Like how much do they remake? Is it going to play like a 2018 game? Is it still going to play like the PS2 games? Is it going to rewrite that character? Is it going to retcon anything like we've seen with like the Kiwami series of Yakuza and all that? Is like, how do you retackle this game? I think that would maybe be a question, and maybe they don't feel like answering that at this moment, or maybe they're
just don't
solving
have
that
the
right
answer,
now. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's all fair, Eric. Like, I like knowing that things are being worked on, and I think that is good. I think the sort of annoying consumer thing that I'm complaining about is like the pace of the show. It's like I want, it's like I want like fun announcements and cool things, and it's like, oh, it's great to see. I'm like, Wes, I think you joked at the beginning like there wasn't anything here that couldn't have been an email. I could have taken that as an email.
Could have been a press release.
We're remaking the God of War trilogy. Cool, I don't know.
I think for like old fans, the voice actors like the big thing there, because there's people who
nice.
I mean, I love Christopher Judge, but even since his casting, there's people who are like, why did we recast? The TC is great, like he's Kratos, so I think it's really cool to like bring him back, and super charismatic dude. I was not familiar with his game, but like I was like, oh, this is hell yeah, dude.
Maybe
cool.
that's why they decided to do it that way, because they're like, yeah, this guy, like, you're gonna want to hang out with this guy,
yeah.
I would also argue that like well, I also want to talk about Sons of Sparta, which is another game they announced.
I will talk about that next.
The way I was tying it in is that we would also maybe feel differently if like last summer Game Fest, they announced Sons of Sparta was coming out. Then we have this, and then there's less of a, because we've had a drought of what Sony Santa Monica is working on. I think is part of the reason they feel the need to like compensate for this gap of information. And I think if we just had this thing, it would be like, okay, that would tide us over a little bit. I also think they were like, it's like you're having a birthday party, and then at the very end you're gonna have cake, and they're like, you guys, I gotta say, next year it's gonna be a huge cake. It's gonna be remember your favorite cake ever? It's gonna be like that, but even better. Anyways, here's a plate of cookies. And you're like, oh, I wasn't expecting the cookies, but you spent a long time talking about this cake that I haven't seen and have no concrete concept of, so much that like I did forget that I got cookies just now, and it's so anyways, I think they should have
metaphor.
Maybe spent more time on Sons of Sparta, or had someone come out and talk about that also, so it was more like we're finishing on something real and tangible. But yeah. Now, am I I don't know. Well, Kyle, you've played this game. I'm curious of what you think of it.
Yeah, we'll finish up this section of the podcast talking about Sons of Sparta, because it was like I don't know the emotions you guys went through. I am a big God of War fan. I have played every game, including even which I referenced in my story about Sons of Sparta, God of War Betrayal, like the Nokia like pixelated God of War game. I have seen Kratos' full story, and I enjoy his story. I like that I have seen every facet of his life, and I know, there's the version of his life where he's a married man with a daughter. There's a version of his life where he's a widowed father with a son. I like tracking this guy's life. So Sons of Sparta I was like, oh, this is like a cool thing. Like I was like, I like going really like the furthest back in Kratos' timeline in terms of gameplay. We've seen sort of bald Kratos and his brother in like sort of like old cutscenes and like cut content from the original God of War and stuff. But I was just kind of like, okay, like this is cool. And then the announcement of like it's out now was like genuinely surprising, and I was like, oh great. And I started playing it this morning. I'm on the review, so I'll have a proper review of the game soon. And I played about 40 minutes, so like grain of salt and all that with like everything I'm sharing. Opinions could change, but like I've been generally impressed. It's more Metroid-y than I realized, because I thought it was going to be more just like a straight up action game, kind of like Shinobi from last year, which is like not a Metroid game, and Ninja Gaiden as well also is not, right? It's just a straight ahead action game, right, with levels. Yeah. This is like stages. You're running around Sparta. I'm recalling the recent Prince of Persia game, which is funny because the Spartans are currently like at war with the Persians, which is like a funny thing. I do think like it doesn't need to be compared to Prince of Persia, but that is like the recent apex of Metroid design in my mind.
Yeah,
it does not feel as good as that game. It is not as smooth. It's like a little hitchy, and like there's like combat mechanics that are like, yeah, if you hold down R1, you do a little less damage, but like you get these benefits. And I'm kind of like at this stage, I'm kind of like, well, I don't understand like why I should ever be holding down R1 at this point. Like that could change, right? I just don't understand the mechanics yet. But like, as someone who really follows the God of War narrative and is invested in it, like I'm excited. It's fun to hear TC Carson, right? That's his name. It's fun to hear him playing Kratos again, and he's telling his daughter a story. So like the sort of framing is like a version of Kratos we don't often see, like the father of a daughter, and then we get to see him as this sort of abrasive child, which we haven't really seen either. And it is fun to play kid Kratos, and him being like, yeah, I really want to be a powerful Spartan. Like, that's what I want for my life. And I'm like, dude, your life is crazy, man. Like, you don't even know, like, what's going to happen.
It's going to suck.
It's gonna be bad. But it's also going to be really fascinating and engaging and emotional and moving at times. So, like, that part of it, like, I'm into. Like, I'm thinking maybe the developer who I looked up has mostly done like backyard sports games, has kind of been their recent like sort of gamography, which makes them an odd pick for this. Is like I imagine they're kind of like doing the sort of design and the development, the gameplay, and like, you know, making sure the combat feels pretty good, which it does. And then I think maybe Sony Santa Monica is like, yeah, no, don't worry, we'll take care of the sort of emotional side of this and maybe do the writing. I don't know if that's what it is. I'm just making assumptions here, but like the writing seems solid, the action seems okay, and I'm having a good time exploring, you know, building a map, you know, like finding something here and realizing I have to come back to it later. Like those kind of Metroid sort of mechanics, those all seem really solidly implemented, and like I'm eager to see it to the end. So like positive first impression for sure. Yeah.
It has a stacked voice cast too. They put out like a little blog post yesterday night, and there's a pretty robust cast of characters. I know Shelby Young, who I follow on TikTok. She does like all kinds of voices. She was Leia in the recent Star Wars Lego games. She's in it. The guy that plays Deckard in Detroit Become Human is somebody. There's a lot. Like they put out like a little trailer, and it was like 30 names. Like this is stacked.
I don't want to put you on the spot. I probably don't know the answer. Do you know who's playing the brother, Deimos? Because he sounds so familiar, but I can't place it. I can look him up.
I don't remember, but
I'll look him up. But
yeah. This is a $30 game.
That's a good question. I don't know. And it's PlayStation 5. It's funny as I'm playing it, I'm like, you know where I would love to be playing this? On my Switch.
Switch, yeah. Yeah, but, $30 game, just a PS5 game.
Yeah.
I am surprised it's not a Switch game, considering that they're playing a bit nicer with Nintendo. They did the Horizon Lego game.
Yeah.
This seems like it would be a good fit for
God of War,
Switch,
though,
but it is also God of War. Yeah,
that's arguably their most precious franchise. Maybe because like you could say Spider-Man, but like that's
Last of Us.
Last of Us.
I would say
you know, you guys are right. Last of Us. I'm sort of more invested in the God of War story personally, although I do really enjoy Last of Us as well. I'm not trying to finish Last of Us, but
we say Last of Us, but they sure do find an excuse to trot out one of those two games every time they do a stream.
And cancel the multiplayer game. And, it's rated T too, so it's not even super.
Deimos is voiced by Scott Menville.
He plays Robin in Teen Titans, doesn't he?
Yes.
Okay,
nice.
do it.
Very distinct.
Love me some Teen Titans Go.
We've also got Jack Quaid.
Oh yes, that was another name that I was like, yeah, he's Ias
from
or
Star
Ias
Trek
or
Lower
something?
Decks.
Yeah, that's the main thing.
That's the show that everyone knows him from.
It's funny. I was referencing Jack Quaid on a podcast recently, and I was like, "You guys know the actor? He's got a famous dad, and of course, we all know him from his appearances on the Comedy Bang Bang podcast. Like that's how I totally bypassed The Boys to talk about an obscure improv comedy podcast that he shows up on sometimes. I like Jack Quaid. He's very funny.
Yeah.
Who does he play? Do you have that list up, Charles? I don't.
Deimos.
Wait.
Oh, sorry, Jack Quaid. Ace, E-I-S.
Like
E-I-S.
I don't think I've met that character yet. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
I am excited for the trilogy remake because I've never played those games, and I really really like the two new games, and I found it an interesting way that I have. Some people are coming in with Kratos' perspective of his life and the things he's done. I came in with Atreus' perspective of like, oh, I guess my dad's done some bad things and he's kind of feels bad about it, but I don't know the details. I have seen like a video essay that like kind of breaks down everything that happens. I'm like, these games seem wild, so I'm curious to see how they are reimagined in whatever amount of context is. This 2D game, I'm curious to play it because it doesn't really scratch the God of War itch for me just looking at it. Like if I want to play a God of War game, I wouldn't look at this and be like, that's the thing I should do. It's just like occupies a different part of my brain, and I'm curious of how much, like, Kyle, do you feel like even translated 2D that you're like, oh, this is a God of War game, or is it more just like this is a different game that has God of War characters?
I think it's more the latter so far. It is a different game that sort of character-wise so far, like it does feel like who I imagine Kratos as a child to be, right? Mm-hmm. And the framing of having the original voice actor talking to Calliope is helpful and important. Like there's a couple of really interesting sequences with Calliope in the first PSP game, like truly like heartbreaking stuff. Like so I like seeing him be a dad to a daughter. Like, that's important to me as a dad of a daughter, I guess. But Yeah, the action, right? Like you're right, Charles. It doesn't really feel like God of War. Like I am collecting, glowing little globules for health and experience and
That's
stuff.
every game.
Yeah,
Glowing globules. That's
Love
video
me a
game
globule.
101.
yeah. I always say there's two types of games. There's the game where the globules come to you, and there's the game where you have to collect the globules, and that's like that's all video games.
So
That's a
right
feature
about
right there.
that.
That's a feature.
Do
Opinion
Orb
piece.
come to me or do I go to Orb?
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But I mean, it would be kind of insane if he got the blades of chaos. Like, you know what I mean? Like that. Like if he's swinging a blade, I mean, maybe they could say like, yeah, this is how he learned to do it. Like he had to learn to do it at some point. But like right now, I just have a staff. I have a spear.
He finds like a sword with a chain on the end. He starts swinging around. He's like, I don't know, seems unwieldy, and like winks at the camera and like throws it away.
It is the Gotham problem where I don't know if you guys remember the TV show Gotham,
Yes,
which is
yes.
about Bruce Wayne as a 14-year-old boy, where it's like we're gonna have
Yes.
all your favorite Batman stuff, except none of it's as it is yet, and when we do make it like lore accurate, it feels way too early, but when you don't get enough of it, you're like, this isn't anything. Why do I care that Gordon's not even a commissioner? And then he becomes a commissioner. You're like, well, now there's no prequel. This is just what his job is.
Such
Anyways.
a weird show that I watched every episode of.
My cousin was on that show.
Oh, really?
He-
How?
He was an actor. I don't
Was
know
he
if he's-
Commissioner Gordon?
Was he
wish,
Jerome or Joker or Jay?
Jerome or Jeremy?
Jeremy, that's right. Yeah, one of
no,
the four
Jeremiah.
Jokers.
There's
Jeremiah, yeah.
Jerome is the Joker, and then he dies, and then turns out he's his twin brother Jeremiah.
That show went, the last season or two of that show went like bonkers.
It really did. My cousin he was in an episode of the Mad Hatter where the Mad Hatter was mind controlling everyone, and
And he was just a
everyone
hatter
go
at that point, a common career
Yeah,
choice.
probably.
contemporary,
Yeah.
He mind controls everyone to go up on a roof, and they're about to like all jump off the roof. I can't remember why, but he's gonna make everyone kill themselves. And then Mr. Gordon realizes like in the mind controls instructions they're like, and you're not allowed to save yourself. And he goes on like the radio station. He's like, you can't save yourself, but you can save each other. And my cousin is the guy that stops Harvey Bullock from jumping off the ledge. He's credited as youngster on roof.
Oh, hell
Hey.
I watched the whole episode knowing he was going to be in it. I hadn't seen like the entire season preceding it. Was like, man, this is a weird show. And then he had no lines. It was just youngster on roof.
That's cool, though, man.
But-
That's awesome.
There you go.
Brian
watch
Che
Gotham.
is in the crowd scene of Dark Knight Rises. So
Oh yeah,
maybe,
Oh,
maybe
he's
they
mentioned
could,
that
they could
before,
chat
I
about
noticed.
their experiences.
Gotham extras. Yeah, there you go. Anyways, that's what God of War is.
Yeah, that's
Sparta
right,
is like.
yeah.
It's like my cousin being in the Gotham show.
My hope is that it's more focused on like Kratos and his brother, like stuff that we haven't
Yeah.
seen
Yeah.
enough of yet. Ghost of Sparta has some Kratos brother stuff, the second PSP game, but like, yeah, I don't want it. I don't want it to be winking too much to the future, because the fun part is like, just hey, this is a kid who like doesn't even know what he's in for the rest of his life. But yeah, State of Play, a great show. I think. I think there was a lot of good stuff in there and a lot of fun surprises, and it didn't feel long, frankly, even though it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
So cool. Well, we're gonna take a break and we're gonna come back and we're gonna talk Pokemon Pokopia, Reanimal, Romeo's a Dead Man, and CiniCross, and then we'll call it an episode. So stick around. Hey everybody, we are back from the previous segment. You just heard us talking about the State of Play, and I'm sure we had a lot of amazing things to say. We're recording this out of order, but wow, what a show that was, and what a conversation we had. I love it.
Can't believe they went right to the PlayStation 7. That's crazy.
believe- yeah, just
I really
jumping
thought the
way
6 would be
ahead.
next.
But let's get away from PlayStation stuff. Who cares about PlayStation? Charles, tell me, and I guess Wes and Eric can listen to if they want, about Pokemon Pokopia, which you went to New York to play recently, right?
I did. It was the one game I couldn't talk about until later, and it was my favorite game that I saw there.
Better
this
than
was,
Virtual
I-
Boy, you're saying?
Definitely, actually, hands down. I would actually say there's no part of Virtual Boy I enjoyed more than Pokemon Pokopia.
You couldn't play Pokopia in the Virtual Boy, right?
No. I mean,
Yet.
I'm sure I could try, but I don't know if it would work. Yeah, it was. It was like a venue. I talked last week about how there's all these like waiters showing up, and they had like platters of food, and I was like, oh, this fancy little steak bites or whatever. That was all the first floor. The whole basement was exclusively dedicated to Pokemon Pokopia, which was fun. So it was all just set up for that. I went in, I sat down, and I played about an hour of the game, and I played it in 2 chunks. My first chunk was like a fresh save, and then after that, we got to do some local multiplayer. And yeah, my honest opinion with most Pokemon stuff lately is like, I've always loved Pokemon. I'll always have a soft spot in my heart for it, but I don't know that I'm excited about it anymore. It's not a thing that I'm not always actively looking forward to it. I'll check it out when it comes out, but I'm not like first in line like I used to be, for a number of reasons. And this was one where I honestly, the premise is so obvious. It's one of those things that it's like, it's amazing it took them this long to do like a Pokemon Animal Crossing kind of a crossover, where I was like, this is probably going to be a nothing game. It's probably going to be boring, or it's not going to be all that interesting because it doesn't have to be. And then I played it and I was like, oh, this rocks. And I'm now like actively excited for it. I see myself playing this like in bed each night as like a nice reset at the end of a day.
And you are an Animal Crossing guy, right? Like, you like Animal Crossing?
I played Animal Crossing. I'm not like super intense about it, but it's a thing I enjoy.
And this is probably a question you're getting ready to answer here, but like, it's like farming sim, right? Stardew Valley versus like Animal Crossing. Like, is it more on the Animal Crossing side of things?
Yes, okay. I would say it's definitely more on the Animal Crossing side. There's like, from what I played, farming is not a super relevant part of the experience, in that like, you're not trying to get specific berries to do things. When I was playing, there were trees that produced berries, and that refreshed your like power points, your PP, which you use to like use your moves all the time.
Charles,
and you can also like gift berries to people.
Yeah, we just had to put the parental advisory sticker on.
I intentionally said PowerPoints before shortening it, because I was like, we're not even going to go there. I'm going to avoid it. But then Kyle had to call attention to it.
A joke that I'm sure has never been made before, ever, on any by anybody.
Not in 30 years of Pokemon history.
Yeah,
never.
I did it first.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is, I think, the other part about it that I think is interesting is I don't think they've said this, and I'm not sure it's confirmed, but I suspect this is at least some people that worked on the Dragon Quest Builders games.
That's what I was going to jump in with, is that I believe Omega Force is working on this, and that is the crew that made Dragon Quest Builders, which, for my money, is one of the best Dragon Quest spin-offs ever made. Extremely good duology of games, and for years I was like, where's Dragon Quest Builders 3? Where is it? It turns out it might actually be Pokemon Pokopia is the follow-up, because even just the way you move around in that space, the way you plunk things down and can kind of rearrange the town. And for those who hadn't played Dragon Quest Builders, there were a lot of mechanics that were about not just building stuff a la Minecraft, but building little homes and places where people would go do things, and it would start to automate stuff. So if you built a kitchen, people might go in and start baking things and stuff like that. So this looks to do a lot of that, but with Pokemon, which makes a ton of sense.
Yeah, and it almost makes me more excited for it to realize that, because there's a sense of like, I was talking about like the concept of a Pokemon spinoff before, where they're like, oh, we'll just ship this off to like, a smaller side developer. They'll throw it together, but the main thing is that it's got the Pokemon licensing, and a bunch of kids will play it because XYZ. And this is, I feel like, a lot, now that I know it's a team doing the type of game that they know how to do, but with Pokemon instead of Dragon Quest as a license, it kind of makes more sense to me when I was opening it up and being like, oh, there's a lot going on here, which is exciting. So you play as a Ditto who is transformed into their long-lost trainer. Not super clear what happened to the trainer. They might be dead. You just kind of wake up in a cave and you're like, I don't know where my trainer is. And then there's a Tangrowth known as Professor Tangrowth that's like, this old Pokédex has been sitting here forever. And then it wakes up when it sees you, and it's like, oh, the trainer's back. And I'm like, I'm sure they'll answer the question. I hope they'll answer the question. But
no, they won't. I
like...
really don't think they will, Charles.
I
don't know. they're talking about it like there's a plot to the game or something. Like there was some like slight for it felt like honestly it felt like the start of a Fallout game. It's like I woke up in a bunker, I don't know where my dad is, and then I go outside and the whole world has ended. There's no Pokemon. Like Tangrowth is not just like, holy crap, a human, and then like, oh wait, you're a Ditto. Holy crap, another Pokemon. I haven't seen any of those around here in a long time. And I'm pretty sure they refer to the surrounding area as a wasteland too. So it's like a surprising, just like a vibe I wasn't expecting.
I like it.
And then you go outside, there's an unconscious Squirtle, and you use you learn Water Gun from him. You wake him up with some water. And then there's like a kind of tutorial section, but the gist is that the main mechanic is this habitats mechanic, where you are placing objects in the environment or growing natural features in the environment or something. Basically make little clusters of decorations that can spawn in Pokemon. Kind of the way that like in a Pokemon game you'd run around the tall grass, look for something. So like 4 tall grasses is like a tall grass area, and that can spawn in a Bulbasaur or a Charmander or some other Pokemon I didn't get to see. If you put some grass around a tree, that's a habitat. If you put some grass around a big rock, that's a habitat. I'm sure if you have like 3 little rocks and you put them together, that's a habitat. And then also extends to some like non-natural features too. So the one I saw, there was like a punching bag next to a weightlifting bench, and that can spawn in some fighting type Pokemon. And I'm excited for that as a concept because I've always been very much like in Animal Crossing, for example. I'm just like, well, what's the Charles? I like, my favorite color is green. So I'm like, what's a green bed? Or like, how can I make fun geometric styled green curtains or whatever? And once I have that, I'm like done. I don't need to make stuff anymore. Maybe I'll get stuff as like gifts for my villagers, but there's like a clear cap on creating stuff. And this is like a very good incentive to be like, you're going to want to get as many recipes or decorations as possible, because it'll be like, oh, you're going to spend a lot of time, looking for this item because that's how you can get the toy volcano, which is how you spawn a Charizard or something like that. So I thought that was exciting.
The Minecraft Builders reference is surprising and not surprising at the same time. I've played a shocking amount of that game, like both of them, weirdly, even though it's not usually my genre, but
Dragon Quest?
Yeah.
What did I
Minecraft
say?
Builders.
Did I say the wrong thing?
Minecraft, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Dragon
Okay.
Quest Builders. Thank you. Yeah, no, thank you for correcting me. And the thing that I didn't get from looking at the videos in trailers and stuff that I did read about in your preview, which you can read on GameInformer.com, like you talked about like getting off the island and going to like a different island. Is it pretty large? Because like Dragon Quest Builders world is shockingly big, like in both of those games. And that first look at Pokopia made me kind of feel like, ooh, this is gonna all take place in this one little area. Like what's your sense of that part of the game?
Yeah, I'm not really sure, because the section I played was at the start, it was clearly like a crater of sorts. So I was surrounded by like high walls on all sides, and I didn't unlock any like climbing or flying or even like block breaking abilities. And then the second chunk I played was on an island, and I could see another island, and I had like rock smash and stuff, so we could get around more. But it was sizable. I also like, there was an ocean I was swimming across / flying over that I assume I could fill in. But I don't really know. It wasn't super clear to me whether like that starting area was a part of the same area, or like how it all connected, or if the map could get bigger or smaller depending on like what we discovered. But I didn't. I think there was. It felt spacious. It didn't feel
good.
claustrophobic, at least in that section I was playing.
Yeah.
Is it is there like objectives, or is it just kind of like, hey, here's a blank space, have fun? Because I like Animal Crossing, but I always sputter out quickly because I just don't have an aim, and I prefer games that give me something more than my own creativity.
Yeah, there's definitely like I was saying story mode, but there definitely is a sense of like linear progression, and I'm very glad that we did like the start of a save file and then we went on to the multiplayer stuff, because the start of the save kind of did feel like the start of a Pokemon game, where they're like holding your hand through like every little specific mechanic
Complete
interaction.
disrespect for the player's time is how I would
Yeah.
Pokemon never
Like
does
there's
that.
text, there's text, and then you learn Water Gun, and then there's more text, and then you water Squirtle, and then there's more text, and you're like, I wonder what else you could water, and then you find a dry thing, you water it, and then there's more text, and like, I wonder what else you could water, and it's like that where it was like I spent more time reading text boxes in that first section than I did actually playing the game. But then like there's like challenges and stuff in the PC that give you some. I imagine what would happen is the story would slow down a little bit. They'll be like you have to focus on, you know, leveling up the environment area or whatever it's called. There's like a name for the level that you're operating at, and then those are a little more like macro goals of like make X number of furniture or do XYZ. And when I was doing it, I was trying to be very specific and stick to the goals that I had because I wanted to do it. But it opened up a lot more then, and it's like, oh, if I wanted to just go around and like move a bunch of grass around or kind of just do my own thing, it's very easy to get like sidetracked, even though I have like concrete objectives to do. So that was like the start. I like played there solo, and then I went into a multiplayer local wireless game. And this was really, so that first section I was like, okay, I'm interested. I'd love to play more of this, but I don't have like a real sense of the gameplay loop yet. Then I go into this next section and I'm like, okay, I understand why the game is appealing now, because it's like the world is way more open. I had a bunch more like moves I could use. I can just smash blocks. I didn't really know going into this game that it was like, no, you can go any point on the ground. You can mine down like it's Minecraft, and you'll collect blocks, and you can place those blocks in different spots. Like you have full range of command over that sort of thing. Cool. And we saw in this area people had used it to like make houses and make sculptures, and they built a bunch of windmills, and I'm pretty sure that was like a pre-built accessory, but it was like, wow, they really liked windmills. There's 10 windmills on this island. And quickly went from a thing of like, okay, this is just a place items or whatever to get Pokemon, and I was like, okay, I could make a town here, and I'll visit someone else's town. It'll look way different from my town. It's not strictly guided. And then there's also like a thing I didn't really get a taste of is your relationship with the Pokemon that end up like living there in the houses that you make. But they all have like
dialogue, like spoken dialogue.
Social.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you talk to everyone.
Okay. I guess their rule is like if you are playing as a Pokemon, you can talk to other Pokemon. I guess it's kind of like
yes.
Right? Yeah.
I watched they did like an extended trailer on the features in Pokopia like a few weeks ago, or maybe like in December. And the announcer's like in the very Nintendo voice, let's look at what these Pokemon are doing. I can't quite understand them as they're recorded. Here, I'll do a little bit of translating, and then does like voices for Professor Hangoth or whatever. So like even in the meta world, they're like, you don't understand what this is, but Ditto does. So that's like how it's going.
I'll accept that. I'll allow it. Yeah.
But then it's stuff of like they all have like likes and dislikes of furniture items that are near them, and they get mad when you take them away. Like someone took away Arcanine's like it was like a bus stop signpost outside, and
Ooh.
I didn't see anyone take it away, but he ran outside and he was like, where's my signpost? And I was like, oh geez, he needs a signpost.
Yeah.
And then I brought
really
it back
not
and he was
supposed
like,
to take those from him. He does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's in his Pokedex entry. Is he breathes fire and loves bus stops.
loves public transportation.
He's a huge fan of public transportation.
Anyways, so there's all that, and then I guess there can be multiple Pokemon living to a house. The ones we saw, there was just like one in most of them, but they had Espeon and Umbreon living together, which was very cute. And then in this multiplayer section, we were tasked with rebuilding the Pokemon Center, and it was like we needed a few sticks, a few leaves, and then like 2 Pokemon to act as like the builders to come in here and do it. So we needed a Dragonite, we needed just a build type Pokemon, which is another thing that each Pokemon has a like category of like work it can do. So like I think a lot of fighting types are builders. They'll have like a hard hat image on their Pokedex entry. So there's an element where it's like you want to catch as many as you want, but there's also an element of like, well, if you have one of each of the main worker types, you don't have to stress about like filling out the Pokedex necessarily. I just happen to think this is a cool way of filling out a Pokedex. It's just
gotta catch exactly what you need and no more.
Yes. And then I'm very much a I'm very much a goody two shoes, like, oh, this is where the developer wants me to go. Like, if there's a paved road in a video game, I will walk on the paved road. I'm the
complete opposite.
Immediately go the opposite direction.
I played Grand Theft Auto before I ever got my driver's license, and I know the rules of the road, but I had a hard time getting around because I just kept crashing into stuff. So there was a point where I'm just like, sometimes you can just stop at the red light and it'll make your life a little easier. That's the kind of person I am. The people I was playing with did not have such courtesy for their natural environment, and I enjoyed that. While I was like, all right guys, let's get to Makuhita, he can help us repair the Pokemon Center.
I like this Deku voice you have going.
I'm going to be the best Pokemon Pokopia resident ever. I looked over to my right, and Logan Plant of IGN was immediately dug straight down, gathered a bunch of blocks, and then called my attention. I looked over, and he had found the build height limit in the game. He just built straight up. And then he said, do you want to know if there's fall damage? And then he just jumped off the edge of it, and there's no fall damage. So I'm glad he checked.
I was curious.
He turned into like a Ditto-y splat. And I was like, I'm glad you did that, because I never would have thought to do that. But that's the exact type of thing that, like, on a podcast, I'll be like, so is there fall damage? And yeah, so at a certain point, we just started going around breaking stuff also, because it gives you a sense of like what you can put down. And I was like, okay, these houses are built by people. It wasn't just like here's the whatever kit. You can, it exists. It's a house now. It was like, meticulously crafted. There are like housing kits that create more of like an Animal Crossing house, where like you open the door and then there's like a loading zone and it's in a different area that's like a little more specifically decorated. But there was like a fountain that had water in it, and when we broke the side of the fountain, water spilled out everywhere, and then we were like all floating. It was like Minecraft water. It just kind of like stayed in the area, and everyone's like, why is there water everywhere? And we're like, I don't know, someone broke the fountain. And also, crucially, this wasn't even our island, so we could just destroy whatever we wanted, and it wasn't like we had to have special host permissions, or maybe we did have host permissions. I don't know. I didn't see how it was set up.
I think that's how it works in Animal Crossing, right? You have to have a best friend, and then they can dig if they want, right? Yeah, they can terraform.
Yeah, but knowing that you can grant that to up to 3 other people at a time is nice, because like this is something I will probably play alone, but would love to play with another person and just like build an island together. So yeah, it is exciting. It seems like there's a lot more room for creative expression than I realized, but then also that kind of like Pokemon specific collectathon. There's like a new method of doing that I think blends really well with this like genre of game, which is always the thing I want a spin-off to do. Is it's like it's not just I'm trying to think of a thing. Like, if it was like a Pokemon Picross, which I think exists.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, I don't just want to do Picross of like a Pokemon. I want it to then like get added to my Pokedex or something. Like, don't just take the aesthetic part of it, make it clear you understand like the spirit of the game and translate it into
about
your
the
thing.
core, franchise. Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, reading your preview and talking to you now, I mean, optimistically, it does seem like it's a step above like Pokemon spin-off. Like, you know what I mean? Because there's like tiers of like, I don't have any great examples off the top of my head, but like there's a lot of Pokemon spin-offs are rough, and they feel cheap and quick. I get the sense that this does not feel that way, which is reassuring. Like, I'm wondering now, because I have a daughter who loves Animal Crossing. Like, we'll just nuke her island and restart every couple of months. I'm wondering if I need to get another Switch 2 so that she can play and not steal mine, because it's coming out March 5th, and it is Switch 2. It is not Switch 1.
There is Game Share.
Oh, really? It's exclusive.
Yeah.
I think Game Share might extend to the Switch 1, but I might be making that up.
Okay.
Unless it's game by game, but generally, anytime I've written about Game Share, it's always like you can play on a Switch.
Because you're streaming, right? You're not actually like running the game. Oh, interesting. That's kind of cool. Okay.
So she'd be able to play with you. I'm gonna.
I don't want to play
the trailer.
No, I'm not. I'm good.
Oh, okay. Well, never mind then.
I'm not really.
I don't want to become.
She will just take over the Switch 2
daughter.
so much that you need a second Switch.
That's what I'm wondering.
So that you can play games.
I got work I got to do. You can't be just playing Buck all the time. But I mean, like I know I sound like I'm being like harsh. This is not my genre. Like it's not really. I'm not like I like Pokemon. But I am excited for like fans who saw that trailer and reacted like me. I was like, this is like smart and this needs to exist. And I worry that it's not going to be as good as we want it to be because we want this thing to be as good as possible because it seems like a great mashup. And
Yeah.
you came out on the positive end of it, which is exciting.
Yeah, I think especially in the context of a lot of I think most of the Pokemon spin-offs I can think of nowadays are like mobile games.
Yeah.
Which all have like
Pokemon Unite, Pokemon Masters, stuff like that.
vaguely icky monetization strategies to actively icky where it's like
Yeah.
either it's like gacha pulls or it's like Pokemon Friends was like you can play one every day unless you spend $20 and then you just have the game, but it's like just like odd sort of things like that where it's not doing what I was saying where I'm like I want the spirit of Pokemon, and this was like, oh no, this is a capital G game and I'm excited for it.
What if this one monitored your sleep rhythm instead? You know,
That's great.
Or helps you
question.
brush
Yeah.
your teeth. You know. That's
Yeah.
an idea.
It might. I want to say there's a. It might be a real world day night cycle. I'm not 100% sure. Like Animal Crossing is. I do know that there's like daily furniture and stuff, and there might be daily challenges. I didn't write down that in my notes, but I think I remember it is. But it is kind of incentivizing you also to like if you want to play an Animal Crossing style and just like play a bit every day and check back in and see what's new, you could also do that, and it's kind of built for that sort of play style.
Cool. Well, I'm glad you got to check it out, Charles.
Me too.
Hey everyone, we've been talking a lot about Animal Crossing. But what about Reanimal crossing our desk for review? Wes, please save me.
Yeah, so that's a funny transition
That's great.
because
That's
this
great. That's fantastic.
I think you
Very
got
polite.
it.
Reanimal does not treat its animals the same way, to put it lightly.
No, you don't make a world for them to live in and like make their lives better. Oh,
I do want to say
No.
we talked about this in Slack a little bit of just like on the scale of Kyle specifically talking about games his daughter might be interested
sorry.
in.
I know. I talk about it all the time. I'm sorry.
No, I think it's useful just as a metric of like age and just like subject matter of what people are interested in. Where it's like Pokemon Pokopia, probably. Then we were talking about Mugenics in Slack a little bit, and I'm like, it's not a great game for animal lovers. I wouldn't say if you're like sensitive to that. And then I think at the bottom of whatever the spectrum is probably Reanimal from what Wes has said about it.
You made a comparison, a like is to blank as blank is to blank that I think you should repeat on the podcast. That was useful for like the Little Nightmares
Yeah.
stuff.
So yeah, over the weekend I had started playing it, and as just a quick way, this isn't in my review, but it was a quick way to tell my colleagues here at Game Informer what's going on with this game, because I think I'm the only one playing it. And I said if Tarsiers Studio, they made Little Nightmares 1 and 2, if Little Nightmares is their Tim Burton take on adventure games, Reanimal is their Ari Aster take on adventure games, which should paint a picture. You can take it in any direction you want. Any of the Ari Aster movies. I haven't seen Eddington, so I don't know if there's any Reanimal in that. But like this game is, I keep wanting to jump to more adult language that I won't use here, but it's just messed up. It's a very messed up game.
Yeah.
It's not particularly fun. But I'm not someone that thinks every game needs to be fun. Like they have something they're trying to do here, and they're using familiar gameplay mechanics and verbs to tell a very like macabre and grueling story about war and children's place in war. So like if you watch the game, if you look at the game, it does play a lot like Little Nightmares. And so mechanically speaking, I'll start there. It's a lot of moving across a screen, pretty visuals. There's some very scary creatures trying to get you, ranging from elongated men who have broken legs that walk and trample on screen to really messed up animal creations. And you solve puzzles while trying not to be killed.
It's not 2.5D, which Little Nightmares
No, this
kind of
is
was.
yeah.
Right?
This
it's like
is
a full 3D game, right?
Yeah, This was like a big, I don't want to say marketing point, but I spoke to the team at Gamescom and they were very proud of their work they've done with the camera, which isn't a very flashy thing to write about or anything for them to speak about.
Mm-hmm.
But once you play the game, it's very clear what they mean. It's a very cinematic game compared to Little Nightmares, which is moving left and right for the most part. They take advantage of all space and all dimensions that you can use in a game, which goes a long way to make this feel refreshing. I've kind of after Little Nightmares 3, I think I'm set on that. Like I'm not craving a Little Nightmares 4. I think the genre was kind of a bit stagnant with that game. And of course, the people that kind of started the Little Nightmares trilogy have come back to reinvent this genre, I think, in their new horrific take. And yeah, they use the camera in very interesting ways. You're coming at the screen, you're running away from the screen, you're going left and right. You drive a boat, you drive cars, you drive a tank, like you drive vehicles, you have combat. They went they did a lot of work to add a bunch of new mechanics. Not even mechanics, just like verbs to the vocabulary of these types of games. It's not just jumping and grabbing something and holding X to pull something anymore. Now there's a bunch more that you're doing, which is something I really appreciated. I reviewed Little Nightmares 3 like months ago, not too long ago, and I enjoyed it, but I was like, okay, this is getting a little stale. And it was really nice to play Reanimal and feel renewed coming out of it. All that to say, renewed is not the word I emotionally felt when I rolled credits on this game. It is a very thought-provoking but gross and disgusting and I don't know, all those types of adjectives. Like it is just a gross game.
I was gonna say, is it like, for some reason I'm imagining, and this is partially with the comparison of Ari Aster, the most recent Ari Aster movie I watched was Beau is Afraid, which is like so much of movie. Is it a game that you finished and you're like, I need to take a shower?
Yes, yeah, I think so.
Okay,
that's a really good way to put it. I mean, without getting too much into detail, because I don't want to spoil it, but also like trigger warnings ahead. But for some of the things I'm going to talk about, like you are beating animals to death. There is lots of suicide, and suicide is a mechanic in some of the like escaping and platforming you do. There is like the animal noises you hear and the pain that some of these animals go through, the types of like hybrids that are created between like humans and animals. I don't even know if that's the proper way to describe them. Like it's just a very messed up game. So as Charles alluded to earlier, Kyle, your daughter should not play this game anytime soon. It's very like animal lovers, period. And I'm an animal lover. I don't know. I don't want to say like if you love animals, don't play the game. I think it's okay to engage with art that is antithetical to your beliefs sometimes. But like, yeah, exactly. But just know that like you do have to press the button that like takes a crowbar to seagulls and kills them, and you do it a lot. And the game does not really give you any grace to avoid that kind of stuff. It's all very head on. There's not much that's optional, save for some collectibles. Like, it's a very chilling game, but it's one that I thoroughly enjoyed because for me, what I got out of it, and I'm very excited to read other people's reviews and thoughts, is like this is a game about war, but specifically what war does to children. And I think it's a very timely and punctual story and narrative. Like, yes, we know war tears up cities and we know what it does to the adults, but this is a game about like the children who have to live through war and maybe what happens when someone in their friend group is affected by war and what lengths they'll go to save themselves and save that friend and save their innocence. And it was really, really, really like stimulating to engage with. It's the first game in a minute where I was like often pausing just to kind of think about what I was seeing on screen and what I was doing. It's my review is like almost kind of like a big warning in the sense that like it's not a fun game. It's a very gruesome one, but it is one that like if you're someone who wants to like wrestle with your thoughts after a game, it's really good for that. As a game itself, their big highlight is co-op, couch co-op. Finally, I don't know how we didn't get that in the Little Nightmares trilogy.
It was
Yeah.
very strange in Little Nightmares 3 that you
Yeah.
didn't have local co-op.
They had
That seemed
online co-op, but not
yeah.
local. Unfortunately, the big miss of Reanimal is that it's just not a very good co-op experience, and I'm actually a little shocked they built it as a co-op game, or not even co-op, like, because I played most of it solo, and you have a because I preferred it solo. You have an AI companion, but like I almost feel like they could have completely axed that. It felt like they did that because that's what they know, and that's how they did Little Nightmares, so they continued that here. But yeah, it seems very antithetical to what this game's trying to do, because it's like if you're watching Hereditary, to bring back Ari Aster, and you and your actually no, Hereditary is a bad example. Ugh. It's like watching Schindler's List and you and your friend are like laughing and yelling and talking to each other about it, and it's just like, this is not the vibe. This is not the kind of game I want to be playing with a friend and smiling and thinking about things and trying to figure out how to solve the puzzle. Fortunately, the AI companion does a really good job of mimicking a person, like a really, really good job. It's probably the best of these types of games so far. Like I didn't have any issues with the AI companion, but yeah, just beware. Like I don't think it's a very good co-op game. It's cool there's local co-op, but I would not recommend local co-op. I think it's best served as a solo game. But yeah, it's short. It took me 2 play sessions. I want to say like 4 to 5 hours. There's some you can go back through and find collectible masks that you can wear, which are also so disturbing. Some of them are. I had a pig head one that is so, the physics on it and like the texture of it is so gross that I like had to take it off because it was grossing me out.
Oh
Just,
no.
like it was just
crazy.
nasty. It was very
Yeah.
nasty. Which, if you're a horror sicko, like there's probably a lot in here to chew on, but yeah, it's I gave it an 8.25.
I was just
I
about
forgot to
ask,
mention
yeah.
my score. Yeah. Gave it an 8.25. Which for us at Game Informer is basically like, it's a great game, but like arguably so. And that's kind of where I landed was some people will really love this. I came out really liking it, and some people it will be a turnoff for them off the rip. Like, and I can totally understand why it would be. But if it's something, if these types of themes and if you're okay with this type of imagery, I do think it's worth checking out. It's a thought-provoking game. That's all. I keep saying that word, but yeah, I really enjoyed it for that.
I mean, I like Little Nightmares 1 and 2 so much that this was kind of like one of those. Tarsier has established themselves. It's like, yeah, I'll always see what they're doing. Like I'm
Yeah,
always going to be
absolutely.
sort of invested in checking it out and trying it. So, despite your warnings, I still am excited to check it out for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I hope I haven't like oversold how dark it is. It's not like dark web type dark, like something. It's just like, it's very heavy, and I don't know. I guess for me personally, like when there's animals involved, like it does get a little more gruesome, and the game does not. There's no like fluffing it up or anything. There's no smoothing it out. It's like it's in your face, and you can't avoid it. Yeah,
I think you're clear about how it's like it's about the subject matter, and it's subject, like we're used to seeing like the average, if you played seen a Mortal Kombat fatality, that's like more gore than you see in a lot of movies. Like there's a types of violence or horror stuff that you're kind of used to seeing in games, and you're saying it's not like that. It's other disturbing stuff that's like, not that it should be like banned or whatever, but it's like as a heads up, it'll catch you off guard.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. Yeah. It's
I
kind of
wanted
like
to
the
ask-
first. Oh, go ahead.
Or go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say, I remember watching, to bring it back to Ari Aster, like Hereditary. I love horror movies, and that was the first one in a minute where I was like, "Whoa, that was like some crazy stuff to see on screen." Like the big first moment that happens in the movie with the car and all that, and you're like, I've seen more gruesome than that, but the way that played out was a bit like unnerving. It's kind of like that, or when the mom's on the ceiling with the yeah, that part. Sorry, go ahead, Charles. What was your question?
Well, I was gonna say I found the co-op note really interesting because you were like, it's a game that feels a little more like meditative and something you like would play alone in the dark at night or something, just to kind of like grapple with it. Do you think that, in contrast, if like Little Nightmares 1 or 2 had couch co-op, do you think, as someone who hasn't played any of these games, do you think that would have taken away from them at all? Do you think that's a game that's a little more prone to being like, if we're having fun on the couch together, it doesn't take away from the experience?
No, because for me, Little Nightmares has, and like the big difference between it and Reanimal kind of is that Tim Burton versus Ari Aster, like both interested in horror, but Tim Burton almost has like a whimsy, a fairy tale esque feel to it. Whereas Reanimal has none of that. It's just horror.
It's not like a Brothers Grimm type situation. It's more
Yes,
like a
yeah.
modern, like darker horror type thing.
Yes, for sure. And I think Little Nightmares 1, 2, and 3 are more interested in puzzles, which is where the co-op gameplay I think would really shine, especially on a couch. Because 3 had online co-op and it was fun. Reanimal has some puzzles. It has one particular puzzle. It's not even really a puzzle, just like a platforming segment that was very reminiscent of Brothers, where you're tethered and you have to walk, like you have to move forward together. And I was like, oh, that's so cool. I'd love more of that. Otherwise, like, you're kind of just, oh, there's a door that you need to open together. And so both the boy and the girl have to go to the door and press a button. There's nothing really, I didn't feel like it was engaging what two people are needed to solve something. Like it's very, puzzles are not like the big highlight of this, whereas I think puzzles are a bigger deal than Little Nightmares. Yeah.
Cool.
Well, let's move on to a game that is weirdly, I don't know, almost the opposite in terms of just like, it is also violent and has some gruesomeness to it, but it's like delicious candy. Like it's just so like stylish and weird. Like I'm talking about Romeo is a Dead Man, which I played and beat and reviewed. Wes, I think you played a little bit of it. As I asked you, just as you're taking a sip of water. And it's like chaotic and crazy, right? Is Romeo is a Dead Man. It's like you are a space and time FBI agent who died because of an early incident in the game, so now you're like half dead, so you're kind of like a cyborg. And what you have to do is like chase your multi-dimensional girlfriend through time with laser swords and guns, and it's just like it's kind of ridiculous in that way.
These two sound like they would both be midnight double features at like a college town theater, but for like different nights. Yeah.
And it's a Suda 51 joint, which I still think he flashes on the screen. I actually don't know if I don't think it happens here because he's a producer on this one, which he wasn't like creative director, so it doesn't get to be a Suda 51 joint. But he's heavily involved. He's out doing interviews about the game. It has that tone for sure. And I'm not really the biggest Suda fan. I like Shadows of the Damned a lot. I haven't played it since it released, but like Killer 7, I remember playing the day it came out. I was excited for it, and I remember just kind of being like, I don't get this, man. Like I don't know what this is. And a number of his other recent games it's pretty rare that they click with me, but this one I like quite a bit in sort of the Suda canon. I would put like this and Shadows of the Damned as like my favorite. Although I haven't I kind of like asterisk. I haven't revisited Shadows of the Damned in a long time. I don't know. Maybe that game probably doesn't hold up very well. But
no, it definitely holds up. Just don't worry about it. Yeah.
Just don't worry about it. Okay, cool. Just embrace your memories. But yeah, it's a wild game that like shifts art styles all the time, and like you go to different eras of Earth that has like mostly evaporated into nothingness. Like now there's just like one town that exists. It's all very weird, and it's like and then like you between these like larger missions, you're in your spaceship, which is like 16-bit pixelated visuals from like an overhead perspective, and you're walking around and meeting people. Your mom's over here and she can cook curry, and your sister's over here and she has like a garden where you can plant these things called bastards, which are basically zombies that you take into battle with you. Like you can have a bastard who like shoots lasers, so if like you get into a rough spot, you can just like throw one of these out and they'll shoot lasers and stuff. It's pretty wild, and I do like it. I gave it an 8.25. You can read my review on GameInformer.com. I wanted more from the sort of the narrative. Like the narrative is a lot of like, isn't this wild? Like look at like we're hopping between dimensions, and like this is crazy, right? We're like FBI agents, and you have a motorcycle and you gotta like drive through space and stuff. And like I like the characters a lot, but like I didn't really feel like emotionally invested in the story, which is meant to be like, you know, the like doomed lovers, because you're playing as Romeo, who is a dead man, and your girlfriend that you're sort of chasing through time is Juliet. But it's like it doesn't ever. I didn't like the game doesn't conclude in a way where I felt like emotionally fulfilled or satisfied as much as I was like, well, that was cool. Like, you know, that's kind of my reaction most of the time. I was like, oh, cool. That was a cool thing that just happened. I didn't expect you to do that. But yeah, it's cool. Romeo is a dead man. I liked it. I liked it more than I thought I would, frankly.
Does it feel like the spectacle is kind of the draw then, rather than other stuff, like just having the sort of style and verve that this game would have?
I think so. Yeah, because like the combat's pretty basic, but like fun. You know, it's like you're not like memorizing a lot of combos, and like you have to switch between shooting guns and swords in the sense that like some larger enemies have like weak points, but it's like it never really pushes you that hard, and that's okay. Like I didn't really want to be challenged because I just wanted to see what else the game had to offer in terms of like just, you know, its weird sort of aesthetic, right? So like it's the combat was like good, but like not the sort of thing that you play this game for. Wes, how far are you? Are you enjoying it? Like, what do you think?
I'm like 5 hours in. I'm really enjoying it. I pretty much agree with all your points. Yeah, like I haven't really even seen enough of the narrative or story to like even have feelings really on Romeo and Juliet's escapades, but yeah, just to kind of stress a point you mentioned, like the changes in visuals, and like it is a very it's eye candy. Like I think you said candy earlier, like it's delicious in the sense that like your eyes are constantly being refreshed with some crazy thing you did not expect to see on screen. And in that sense, I am very much like I like the combat. It's fine. It's standard action combat, but it's like I'm fighting these zombies to get to the next. I don't even know what's happening. Which is cool because at Gamescom I spoke to Suda, and I was like, even in the 15-minute demo I played, the amount of visuals and art styles I saw on screen was a lot. And I was like, what's going on? And he was like, we kind of just told everyone to like, what would you want to make? Like, what's your favorite art style? What are you good at? And he's like, if this person wanted to do a comic book style thing and this person wanted to do a claymation type thing, like we just threw it in there.
A Thomas the Tank Engine inspired, like,
yeah.
yeah.
He was like, they're the artists. I just let them make art, and then me and the director found a way to put it into a game cohesively. And he talked a lot more about the challenges of that, but yeah, it's fascinating. Like the game has so much going on, and it's a really cool. I put this on Blue Sky, that it almost feels like a game where the studio heads were just telling everyone to run free, like do what you want. Like, yeah, we're gonna do an action game with swords and guns. Everything else up to you guys. Whatever. We'll make something. We'll make a story to put a through line through all this, and it's really really cool. Like I'm just enjoying the ride it is.
I think it works. Right, like there's disparate stuff going on, and like you'll just like play these like one-off little mini games and things like that, but it works, you know. Like I like it. It feels like a bizarre sort of, you know, like Suda51 is a guy who puts his name on games, and like he meets that definition of auteur that we ascribe to various creators and stuff. And like this does feel like a Suda game, but it also does feel like more so than like maybe a Kojima game, that it's like it is coming from a larger group of people with interesting ideas. Yeah. And it's not perfect, you know, it doesn't always mesh up, and like I had frustrations with some like the level design, and like you kind of go between dimensions to like get around corners and stuff like that in a weird way, like
the mall.
Yeah, like I don't know if you guys
dimension hopping. Do
you guys know his Dark Materials, that book series?
Yeah.
Like the subtle knife, the
subtle
sort of
knife.
Like, the idea of that is like you can cut through a dimension and like go in there and then like walk over here and cut back in, so you can like get around locked doors and stuff. Like it kind of feels like that, but it also kind of gets confusing and frustrating sometimes. But go ahead.
The set above it definitely reminds me of something I love from last year, the 100 line, where you kind of take like the auteurs in the building and use that as like the tent pole, the like big banner that you say like, hey, it's the next game from this studio and this person, but then you just let the creatives run absolutely wild and go crazy with it. And that honestly makes me about like 20% more interested than I was previously. So maybe I'm going to mark this one down.
Music's really good too.
Yeah.
I really
Ooh.
enjoy
Love a good
the
soundtrack.
musical taste of it.
And I think this is like a weird thing to pitch, but it's about 15 hours. It's not like crazy long. You know,
Oh,
it's
that's a great thing to pitch.
yeah, it's like a good it's a good
Yeah.
length. It doesn't overstay its welcome. So, yeah, Romeo is a
Is-
dead man.
Is there and I don't think there has to be. I was just curious. Is there like an in-world reason why the art style is changing a lot? Or
No,
is it just kind of like this
Not
is just
really.
how this is?
it's just crazy. You're like, you're jumping around through time and stuff like that. It doesn't feel. It's not like confusing. You're not like, wait, hold on a second. Why am I looking
Yeah,
at a
yeah,
comic
yeah.
book now? It's like it's not explained, but it doesn't need to be. It's kind of like how
Yeah.
I felt about it.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah.
What score did you give it? You gave it a
8.25.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Same as Reanimal, so they're like basically the same game. So
Twinsies,
that's-
yeah.
Yes.
from that.
That's
the
the
du-
midnight
it's the-
double feature. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
I also wanted to shout out sort of our last sort of game discussion here because it's just kind of like you guys know Wario64, of course, just randomly sort of shared like, hey, this you can play the demo. This is coming out soon. Like that social media account does sometimes, where it's just like, I don't know, they just like random stuff comes out of that account. You want a discount on like chocolate bars from Amazon, and you also want to get like a Switch
Yeah,
sticker right
dude.
when it comes out. Follow
Yeah,
Wario64.
yeah,
I
dude.
don't get it, but yeah, CiniCross was something that he shared, which I had not been following. I believe there is a demo out. I think by the time you're listening to this podcast, it is out on PC. I'm playing it on my Steam Deck, and what it is, it's a rogue game, but like the primary mechanic is Picross puzzles, nonograms. So if you can imagine like Balatro as a sort of point of reference, and if you swapped in like the poker mechanics with Picross mechanics, that's kind of where you are here. I like this game a lot. I would not elevate it to the height of Balatro, like Balatro's a masterpiece, arguably. But I like this game a lot because I love Picross. I play so much Picross, and usually that means just solving a bunch of Picross puzzles back to back to back to back. I just solve them. They're fun. They're satisfying. Where this is like, hey, what if like you were solving puzzles and then you sort of unlocked like abilities to change a little bit how those puzzles work, and like you also are like solving Picross puzzles with like weird mechanics that you have to overcome that function as bosses. And like you make progress and the puzzles get bigger with each run. It works really well. Like I love Picross, and this is just a new framing of it that is just totally, I've locked into it in a big way. Like it is what I want to be playing on my Steam Deck a lot. Like I just want to do another run, So yeah, shout out to CiniCross, a game. I don't know if I'll do like a proper review. I'm just kind of playing it on my own because I just liked the idea of it, and I like reached out to the dev, and they were nice enough to send me a code. But it's really cool. It's like, I don't do any of you guys play Picross or nonograms? Do you guys know this style of
when I
puzzle?
travel? Yeah,
Yeah.
I love the Jupiter Picross games when I'm flying because like I
Yeah.
get a little motion sick when I'm on a plane somehow, even though that shouldn't make sense, but I do if I try to like read or play something on a plane. But Picross like somehow does not trigger that, has historically never triggered that for me. So Picross is usually one I go to for stuff like that. And yeah, it's super chill.
I love Picross, and I had a similar thing where I probably played like 100 hours of these like 2 Picross apps that were like,
Yeah.
I would put my phone in airplane mode just to get around the ads that would play every 30 minutes or whatever.
Yep.
And I was gonna say it's always a game I've liked, but I've never you've completely sold me on this game, I guess is the bottom line on it. My fiance loves CiniCross. It's like a Picross game where you make furniture, you can like decorate a house, and it has like all these customizable
Yeah, I played a
elements.
little bit of that. Yeah.
I played some Murder by Numbers,
Yeah,
which is
that's good one.
like Ace Attorney Picross kind of crossover where you're like solving mysteries. That one I didn't love because the farther you get in the game, the harder the Picross puzzles get. So when you get to like what would be the climax of the story where you really want to have a lot of momentum, it's like, all right, time to sit down for a 45-minute super large Picross every 10 lines of dialogue or whatever. So this sounds exciting to me where it's like it understands what Picross is. And yeah, is it on Switch or is it just Steam right now?
It's just Steam right
Okay.
now. Yeah, it's good, man. Like if you like Picross at all, like you're like it's very rewarding because you get to solve a lot of little Picross puzzles like quickly.
Yeah.
Like that's like the challenge. It's like, hey, you only have so much time. You take damage. You have health when you get something wrong. So it's like, hey, why don't you solve this 5x5 real quick? Solve this 5x10. We'll give you some bonuses to make the next. Like, it's cool, man. It's really working for me. I don't know if I could really recommend it for like a non-Picross player. I don't know if this is the entry point for Picross necessarily. But like, if you are like me and Charles apparently and Eric, and you have an affection for solving those kinds of puzzles, CiniCross is really working for me. I really like it. So we did it. That's the Game Informer show this week, you guys. We did good.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah.
I was expecting one last elaborate segue.
No, I'm
I
out.
think.
I had one in me with the Reanimal Crossing.
That's how we know the show is over, is that you don't have another elaborate segue. Maybe this is in effect an elaborate segue, just my acknowledging of it.
Yeah.
I'm
and
just
hey,
excited for Final Fantasy VII
Team.
Reincarnation, which Shadow dropped
those shadow.
Wow.
They shadow.
yesterday.
Oh yeah.
Today.
Yeah, we'll see. Yeah, it'll be fun to listen back to that first segment, having recorded out of order. But hey, if you're listening to this on your favorite podcast app, why not check out youtube.com/Game Informer? You can get the video version. You can watch the video version. You can see us reacting to each other. And of course, this whole thing operates basically with our subscription. Get the magazine, GameInformer.com/subscribe. Everyone's showing off their copies. I think I have First Light with me as well. Here we
Don't
go.
look at my Ninja Gaiden copy because my
smells
cat
good.
got to it and it
no.
looks crazy now. Yeah, there's some battle scars on him now.
Look at some battle scars. But yeah, subscribe. I believe at the time of this recording, you can still get the First Light issue if you subscribe, which Brian Shea wrote a huge cover story on the new Bond game. And Eric, you went with Brian for that.
Actually, by the time this is live, I do think subscriptions will have closed. So
Okay, well, they're always open. You can always subscribe, but
well,
maybe at this point, you
for
don't get
First
the
Light,
Bond
for
issue.
First Light.
But we got
head
another
to your
banging
local
coming out.
retailer. Head to your local retailer and pick it up. Yeah,
That's right.
Yeah,
Barnes
no,
and Noble will have it,
I went on that trip. We got to talk to all the lovely folks at IO Interactive. Got to see the lovely town of Copenhagen. It was a really good trip. Learned a lot about Bond. Keep an eye on the YouTube channel for more videos and interviews about what we learned out there. And yeah, got all kinds of good stuff still cooking up.
Yeah, and of course,
Did you? I've never asked you this.
please.
Did you ask them about the epic rap battle of history between James Bond and Austin Powers? Did that come
No.
up at all? Was that- no. Okay. I was, just
Was that on the
curious.
agenda or?
Yeah,
No,
was
just
that
if it
somewhere?
was, just like where you're going through the Bond canon, all the most important pieces of
course.
Bond.
Yeah.
the
That's
crucial,
closest
the
I've come to
pillars
seeing
of
a
Bond
James Bond
lore.
movie is that epic rap battle of history.
Yeah, that one didn't come up. One I was bummed I didn't ask about was the rubber ducks, because I didn't realize that rubber ducks were such a thing. But then we were in Copenhagen, and obviously if you've played Hitman, you know that there's rubber ducks everywhere in Hitman, and I thought that was just like a thing for the studio. But then I saw rubber ducks everywhere in Copenhagen, so now I'm like really curious about what's going on. Did they invent the rubber duck in there? I don't know. I feel like I need to do a follow-up and figure this out. So maybe cover number 2, James Bond rubber duck edition.
I have a James Bond rubber duck from Gamescom at the preview
Yeah.
appointment that my daughter loves to chew on.
Something's going on over there.
Yeah. Twitch.tv/Game Informer. We stream about twice a week. Charles, do you have Friday replay stream plans? You guys finished Sonic and the Black Knight, right?
We finished Sonic and the Black Knight. We played the opening of Sonic Unleashed, which is unleashed. And I
To put it
I think
lightly.
our plan for this week is to play Wario World. Is that what the GameCube,
the GameCube
one
game.
is called?
Yeah.
Oh,
That's what
That
we're
was a
done.
game. It got announced for the Nintendo preview or the Nintendo Classics collection, and I felt crazy because I'd never heard of this game before. I was like, I feel like people hold the GameCube library, especially, as like a holy artifact of like, look at all these beautiful games. I'm like, how has nobody ever mentioned to me that there was a Wario game? And so
Maybe it's
I
not a
don't
beautiful
think we're
game.
gonna do a
You guys are about
a
to find out, I think, probably.
yeah.
I don't think we're doing a full replay. Like, it's not like a super replay. It's just like a classic replay episode.
yeah.
I think we're just gonna poke around at some weird old games until we find one that we're ready to really sink our teeth into. But
That sounds great.
that's the plan for this week.
Shadow of the Damned.
Could Shadow of the Dam?
You could.
Could Never mind. That was something we were talking about before recording.
But yeah, twitch.tv/Game Informer. And I believe we're streaming on the YouTube channel as well, right? Like it's like
Yes.
So you can wherever you prefer to watch. Hey, follow Game Informer on all your favorite social media channels. Blue Sky is the one that I pay attention to the most, so that's that's the one I would suggest. I'm KyleHilliard.com on Blue Sky. Charles, where are you? Where should people follow you?
I'm ChuckDuck365 everywhere.
Everywhere. Wes, how about you? Where should people follow you?
Wesley LeBlanc on Blue Sky. That's really my main platform I use these days.
Yeah. And Eric, how about you?
At CMoosi, SEAMOOSI, mostly on Blue Sky these days. I've really tampered back all my social media on purpose. So
You're a healthy person.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
We're trying to be a healthy person.
Tempting, yeah.
But hey, thanks for tuning in this week, everybody. Thanks for listening or watching the Game Informer show. We will be back next week with a whole bunch of new stuff. Bye, everybody.